Welcome to Unfiltered with Roxy, your go-to podcast for real talk on personal growth, wellness, and living your best life. I'm your host, Roxana Feenster, but I also go by Roxy, also known as Roxy. I'm passionate about mindfulness and wellness, and I'm here to offer you practical advice, real solutions to help you rock your life. Each week, we'll dive deep into topics that matter, from overcoming life's challenges to celebrating your victories and everything in between. On Unfiltered with Roxy, you can expect real conversations, expert insights, and a whole lot of inspiration to help you become the best version of yourself. So whether you're looking to make a big change or just need a little extra motivation to keep going, you're in the right place. Join me every week for a new episode, and let's embark on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment together. Remember, life isn't always perfect, but it can be perfectly amazing, perfectly imperfect, right? Thank you for tuning in, and let's get started with today's episode. For today's episode, we'll be talking about self-worth. Yes, we're diving in deep with these episodes. So I want you to get a pen, a notebook, and be ready to take some notes and get the resources at the end in the show notes so that you can get on your path of self-discovery. No filters. We're going in deep. So for our self-worth podcast, it is actually, the title is, I'm going to tell you the title right now, which I should know. A Journey to Self-Worth. So I just wanted to go into this first because it's really part of a series. I'm going to have 4 other podcasts after this that's going to be all about, the main topic will be self-worth. So self-worth, what is it, right? Self-worth is the internal sense of being good enough and worthy of love and belonging from others. So self-worth is that internal sense of being good enough, worthy of love, and belonging from others. It's often confused with self-esteem, which relies on the external factors such as success, achievements, how we look, what we have, to define our worthiness. And it's inconsistent, right? So it can lead someone to struggling to feel worthy. And I've realized that this is going to be a little difficult to get on a surface level. So that's why this is going to be the introduction to the series. So that definition, self-worth is the internal sense of being good enough and worthy of love and belonging from others, is from the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. And I'll leave that link in the show notes. It's important to have a solid understanding of our strengths, our weaknesses, our areas for growth, so that when we're going through life's challenges, when we're going through trying to, disappointments, challenges of getting to that next level, that we have that basic understanding that no matter what the outside is, that we are still the same. We are still worthy of the promotion. We are still worthy of a good relationship. So that's why we have to make sure that we're working on our self-worth, because the external things will weather us. They will affect us. So we have to make sure that we are making ourselves resilient and that our foundation is good. So how would you describe your self-worth right now? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes so you can, not minutes, but a couple of seconds to think about that. How do you feel about yourself right now? What words would you describe yourself? This is often a hard exercise for people, and especially, and myself included, right? I remember years ago, I had started a new job And one of the questions they asked me was, what are you good at? Give me some words to describe yourself. And I remember just being like, I don't know. So that's very important. One of the ways that I would describe myself constantly is unorganized, not really smart, um, unhealthy. And I was actually the opposite of all those things, right? I was somebody who I have 4 kids, I have a husband. So I was always having to juggle a lot of things and proficiently for years, but I just thought I never could do things right. I never could hold things together. And even at work, I would say, well, I'm okay at doing stuff, but I was solving problems and proficiently for years, not just by accident, right? Showing up every day, showing up and being positive. But for whatever reason, I just thought I was just this negative, terrible person. And when bad things happened, I just thought that's the way it's supposed to be. I deserved it. I did not prepare enough. I did not plan enough. But really, disappointments and challenges are all part of life. There's a saying that, things happen to the righteous and the unrighteous. That's actually a Bible scripture. But it's going to rain. When it rains on everyone, not just the good people or the bad people. So we need to get out of that belief, right? So when you describe yourself, how do you describe yourself? What values do you place on yourself or aspects about yourself, right? So if you're somebody who has a high paying job, is that your base core? Is that what makes you important? Is that what makes you good? Is that what makes you something? So I'm going to just leave that right there. So a lot of times when we're going through different jobs, when we're going through different programs in school, we think because we did not, it did not work out with a job, or we failed a class, we failed a program, that, oh, well, I'm just not good. I didn't get chosen for the job, so I'm not worthy. And that is not true. So we're going to work on those belief systems with this podcast in general, but in the future episodes as well. Were your descriptions general or generally positive? Were they balanced or were they negative? What was your descriptions of yourself? Was it positive? I'm just great. I'm fantastic. I'm the gift to the world, which is where we should come from, because that when we're born as babies, we are the gift of the world. We are just so happy. We're full of joy. We're full of light. And it's the external circumstances that pull us down. So I just want you to think about that. Are you generally positive, balanced, or negative? Oh, I just suck. I can't do anything right. Oh, I messed that up again. So is that the basis that you're coming from? Where did the messages around your worth come from? Think about that. Where did the messages around your worth come from? So those are 3 questions that I hope, or I'm sorry, 4 questions that I hope you were able to write down, because we're going to do a little bit deeper on this topic. Low self-worth is having a general negative opinion of yourself, judging, evaluating yourself critically, placing negative value on yourself as a person. People with low self-worth often criticize themselves, abilities, they brush off compliments or positive qualities, and they focus on their mistakes, what they didn't do, what they don't have. That's the things that they focus on. Some low self-worth is a result of difficult childhood experiences or adverse childhood experiences, ACEs. And we'll take a whole episode to dive deep into adverse childhood experiences, ACEs, with Regina Price. I'm really excited about that. So when a child has experiences, they believe that those experiences are because they're not worthy. And this narrative sticks to them way into their adulthood. So low self-worth may manifest in different ways for different people. So in school or work, you may avoid challenges and achieve less. In personal relationships, you become quite upset, discontented, because there's a lot of criticism and disapproval, and that's coming from you and how you feel about yourself, right? You might bend over backwards to please others, being a people pleaser, be extremely shy or self-conscious, avoid or withdraw from intimacy, vulnerability, and social contact. You're less likely to stand up for yourself. And also, you are more prone to get abused or neglected. So you don't have to stay feeling bad about yourself. And there's a lot of free and paid resources that I will have in the show notes that I've used. And there is even more out there, even when I was preparing for this podcast, that I found. There's so many ways that you can increase your self-worth. But one of the things I want to do right now is go a little bit deeper into people pleasing. I've done that for years and still get into it, right? So for people pleasers, what does that mean? You are doing things that you don't want to do to make others happy, and you're not being your authentic self. So a lot of times, how that shows up, I remember when I first started working at one of my jobs, or in a lot of my jobs, I never wanted to say no. So I ended up saying yes to things that were conflicting or not overlapping, but were tight. So I was never had a chance to really get a break. I was always overbooking myself. And I remember one time I had, and these aren't the other people pressuring you. You just want to say yes, and you want to be there because, if I'm there for everyone, then that means I'm like a worthy, great person, And I remember one time my friend, I had said that I would cover somebody's class. I was a fitness instructor for many years. And one of the things with that is it's only an hour. So sometimes if you have to pick up your kids or you have another appointment or, something else for your work, you have to ask for coverage. So that's not a big deal. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But I would just try to do all the things. And of course, one time I had done it and I was not able to, oh my gosh, there's a deer in the background. I was not able to cover the class. And my friend was like, you have to start saying no. Like, I know you want to help, but you can't do all the things. You can't cover all the people. You can't help everyone out. So I think one of the things that I had realized pretty late in life is that I could not do everything. I would get frustrated, especially if I had promised my mom that I could do something and I knew there was no way I could do it because I had so much stuff that I had to do. I would be upset. I'd be frustrated with my kids. So that one of the things with people pleasing is you're never your authentic self, and you don't feel at peace because you're helping and supporting others and not doing the things that you would want to do and need to do. There's like 3 baby deers in my background. They're so cute. I can't even enjoy them, but hopefully I'll be able to see them another time. It's like a family of deer. So I don't have the shy or the shy problem. When I was probably actively in my my low self-worth, but the self-conscious of always trying to make sure that I was doing the right thing, that I was saying the right thing. Oh my God, I'm always saying the wrong thing. So I definitely understand the torment of that. And I think at one point of being in a toxic friendship, I had just decided that I didn't have the energy anymore, and I just wouldn't have any friends. So withdrawing from intimacy, vulnerability, or social contact, that definitely is something that affects your relationships, and your self-worth affects your relationships. So less likely to stand up for themselves, definitely see that for me in the workplace, because a lot of times I would see injustices and be able to stand up for somebody else. But when it had to do with me, I just felt like I wanted someone else to be that hero for me. And I just didn't have that voice. I do now a little bit more, but definitely was a struggle when I was into my people pleasing stages. And I think when I think about ACEs, I'm going to share more in the ACEs podcast that's coming up. But for me, I really vividly remember when I was younger thinking I did not grow up with my father. I grew up with a stepdad that I will go into in the next episode. But I didn't grow up with my dad. He had nothing to do with me. I remember meeting him when I was 12, and he was not interested in me and getting to know me. And I just remember being like, well, if this is what it is, that means I can't be worth that much, that I'm not that special. And I have carried that as long as maybe into my 30s, late 30s. And really, I feel got over it more in my 40s now. I'm 48, about to be 50. So I think now I have the growth and the insight to know that it wasn't me that was unworthy, that has something more to do with him and the work he has to do with himself. But growing up in my 20s and 30s, I picked a lot of crappy things because of that. And I feel that if we talk to kids when they're going through these experiences, and I'm not blaming anyone, everyone does the best that they can. And especially in my situation, I've forgiven my dad, I've forgiven my mom, because of even how I found out was interesting. But I think that now, looking back at it, if you can tell kids that, yes, this situation is sad, but no, it has nothing to do with you. So it would have been more helpful. And I know that she probably had told me a few times, but it was like when I was older. So this situation with my dad happened when I was 12. And I don't remember us having a real conversation about him having the issue, not me, until I was maybe 30, because I remember being really upset. Like, how could someone have a kid and not ever think about them, look for them? And I really felt that rejection a lot of my life. And that rejection showed up in me not feeling worthy of anything. So that is a little bit emotional, but it's a real thing. And everyone's situation is different. So I'm not ever wanting to shame anyone on how they have kids, or if the kid's father is not in their lives. It's not about that. It's just about us being educated emotionally enough to know that we have to keep talking to our kids about it and have them have different support systems so that the ACEs don't affect their self-worth. Okay, so I'm not shaming anyone or anything like that. So with that, we will go into self-compassion for healing, right? Because really, when we are talking about what I view myself as, we have to make sure that, yes, we know our strengths. I know the things I'm good at. I feel that I am good at connecting with people. I feel that I'm a good encourager. I solve problems. I'm a problem solver. But what do I need help with? It could be regulating my emotions sometimes, being more organized, right? My time management. But before, I remember being just so down on myself about it. But what is the game changer? The game changer is really self-compassion. How am I talking to myself? How am I viewing myself? When I hear a friend struggling with something, I don't tell them, oh yeah, you sucked at that. You, you know, you're terrible. I've seen you several times do this, this, and this. No, usually, unless we are helping that person to get better and we're their accountability partner, and that's still not with harshness, it's still from a place of love, right? But when we're looking at ourselves with compassion, it's, ooh, ouch, that hurt. I could have done better. I didn't want to present myself that way. This, I remember one time recently I had declared I was going to be patient. I'm going to do so great this week. I'm going to be a light in the world. I was doing my affirmations and someone had cut me off, guys. It was in the middle of the affirmation, actually. Somebody had cut me off and I got so mad. I was cussing and fussing. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. To the point where I had to tell the story when I got to work later on that day of how this jerk had cut me off, almost killed me. I ended up going to a light and looking them in well, they had tinted windows, but it was the whole thing. I was so angry and I didn't know why. And it was like, I was so disappointed in myself for responding that way. And then I had talked to one of my friends who's a psychiatrist, and I was like, I was just so mad. Something's wrong with me. Why would I respond that way? Like, I'm like actively working on controlling my emotions. And, and she was like, yeah, people are nuts. Sometimes people they just want to be mean. And who knows what the guy was thinking. Just don't go up to the cars anymore. Leave a little bit earlier if you can and get to work early and just sit in the parking lot and do your makeup, do something. But don't put the pressure on yourself to get to work at that crazy time if you don't have to. And let people go because they're going through something and you don't know. And I was like, that's so true. We put these pressures on ourselves. I just had to be at work at this time. I was in a thought and he interrupted me. But really, I need to just know that people are going through stuff. He was going through stuff in his mind. Who knows? So in the future, I had just said that I would get to work early. I do make my makeup in the car, chill out in the car, do my affirmations on the way to work. But this time I'm not going to let myself be angry. But so that's like us really making sure that we're taking care of ourselves, looking at things that happen to us through eyes of compassion. So we're going to go over that a little bit more. Self-compassion is the ability to be kind to yourself and to actually say and do kind things towards ourselves, the same way we would a good friend. It's totally the opposite of being self-critical, right? So think about how you are with a friend and they have a bad day. You would hug them if possible. You would put your arm around them. You would give them good food. You would give them the best water you had, the best drink you had, the best food. You wouldn't give them junk food. You would be like, oh, I made this roasted chicken and roasted vegetables. You would give them the best things to make them feel good. You would make them chicken noodle soup that would make them feel good. So those are the things that we need to think about when we think about self-compassion. We need to treat ourselves the best way, look back on the past in the best way, and treat ourselves in the present the best way and say, I deserve, I am worthy of having this organic apple or this. I know for a while, sometimes I was like, oh, I'll just eat off a paper plate. You can eat off your good china if you want to every night. It's fine. Okay. Those are the little outside things that we can do that really reinforce our inner self-worth belief. So an affirmation that I think that would be great that you could say is I am. An affirmation to yourself that you can say to yourself every day is I am great, right? And I know a lot of people are going to cringe off of that, but you can say that to yourself every day. I'm amazing. I'm wonderful. I'm wonderfully made. We can remind ourselves that everyone makes mistakes and it's okay. We're imperfect. We're all humans. So think about when your friends make mistakes again. One of the daily affirmations I personally speak is I observe myself with gentleness, compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. Can you imagine if every day we would look back and say to ourselves that I observe myself with gentleness, compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. How great would that be? I want that for you. So please write that down. I observe myself with gentleness, compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. So you have to start noticing that you are struggling. You're struggling with your joy. You're struggling with your peace. That's like the first step, really. You have to know where you are in life. So the whole purpose of self-discovery is being self-aware. Are you in a job that you don't like? Something that you know you can do better. You know you can do better. You can feel it in your soul that this is not what you're supposed to be doing. Are you in a relationship with someone that you know is they're killing your soul? They don't want the best for you. Every time you try to do something, they are saying something negative, but you're just like, oh, I can't find anyone better. Who else? Not that you're saying that, but oh, who else am I going to find? I'm too old. I'm too this, and no one else is going to want me. Is that a message that you're telling yourself? Is that a message? I know a lot of times we have to really have a meeting with ourselves, be quiet. And for those that are in the podcast, just listening to the audible portion of this, I was cringing because it's hard for us to sit in reflective mode, especially if you're someone who feels unworthy. It's hard to sit back. It's cringy to your soul. You're just like, I don't want to look back on the bad things. And so sometimes we look back and maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe it wasn't the other person and it was us and we needed to work on ourselves. But what if it was, oh, for some reason, I just believed that I needed to be there, but I didn't. And you wasted all that time. I just want you to sit in that for a second. What if it's not anything that you had to fix or improve and you wasted that time? I don't want you to feel bad about the time that's passed, but I want you to feel bad that now that you know better, that you are not moving forward. You're not moving out of that. That's the thing with us on a path of really self-discovery, of getting healed, of being well internally and externally. Because if you can fix some of those belief systems, right, that you believe you're not good enough to, I don't need to eat organic food. I don't need to eat the name brand. I don't need to eat this brand that I know that. How will you feel better? How will you how will you look better? Right? Those are the steps that we have to take. We got to notice that we're not happy. We have to notice that friendship that's really not helping us. I remember I was in a friendship and my husband literally had to say to me, "What is wrong with you? This person does not care about you. They just want you to be there for them, cheerlead them on while your life is falling apart." I don't want that for anyone. It's exhausting. And I cried over this friendship when it was over. I cried because of wasted time, hurt feelings, and the disappointment of not ever being good enough for this person, because that was the thing with her. I was never good enough because I wasn't Christian enough. I wasn't motherly enough. I wasn't um, skinny enough because we were, in the fitness field. And then when I had lost more than her, it was like an issue. So it's like, it was just never enough. And it really broke me down. So thinking of my personal experience, are you in a place of struggle, upsetness that you know that you can do better of? I had left a job that I loved at first, but there was no opportunity for me to fly. I felt stagnant. I felt like my soul was dying actually in that job. And saw a lot of injustices and decided to leave. Thought I had got a better job. And y'all, it was probably more toxic than the other things that I was dealing with. So think about that. I felt like my soul was dying because there was no opportunity. Oh, and another thing was that I was not getting paid enough, which it was a nonprofit. It just is what it is. I am totally disgusted with nonprofits, but yeah, wasn't getting paid enough. Then just seeing like how the environment of the leadership was toxic, I wanted to get out. But the new job that I had left to that was paying me a good amount of money was even more toxic. Okay. It was more toxic, y'all. The income was enough. It was good. But because of how the leader was, because of how the work environment was set up to be a lot of backbiting. If you don't know what backbiting means, it kind of means like people not standing up for each other, not helpful to each other, a superficial kind of kindness. The leadership at one point, I had to get a biopsy done for my breast, was making fun that I had missed work and had said that she knew something was going on with me when I had quit because it was just too much for me. Just a nasty person. But just imagine. And I had been through some things. And I just can't even stress to you enough that no money in the world can fix a bad situation. You will get sick and implode. You're either going to implode or explode from toxic situations. So why am I sharing this with you? We all have been in these terrible friendships, relationships. I've been married for a long, long, long time and it hasn't been perfect. So what I will say is that if people are working on themselves and they're self-aware, then yes, we can move forward. But if people are not working on themselves in friendships and relationships, at the workplace, because no one's perfect. If people are not working on themselves actively, get out of there fast, quick, and in a hurry. Okay? Because there's not enough vacations that will overcome that toxic situation. It's not enough clothes. It's not enough food. It's not enough alcohol. It's not enough drugs. Get out of the situation and fix the things that you know are not for you. Okay. So Hopefully that was helpful. Looking over my notes now. So looking at your current state, what things are not bringing you joy and why? So I want you to think about that. What things are not bringing you joy and why? And also on the flip side, what things are bringing you joy and why? Because that's more important, because that's the things that you want to fill your life with. And that's the things that are going to help your resilience and help you enjoy your life overall. And you deserve that kind of life. You're worthy of that kind of life. So allow yourself to sit in whatever the emotions may rise from the situations that you're reflecting on. Okay. The resources below that are in the show notes, they'll have all of the resources the books, the website, books, website. Oh, and there's the meditation. So we'll go over that as well. But going over those resources, some of them are workbooks, and I'll look over that now and I'll share that with you. But I think this is a good point to go over the books that I read, and then we'll also go over my affirmations. So for the book that I recommend, I listened to recently, because I do Audible. My daughters get on me that I don't read. Sometimes I do read, but for this read, air quotes, read, is Worthy: How to Believe You Are Enough and Transform Your Life by Jamie Kern Lima. And one of the things that I really love about Audible is you get the author's energy, you get their sentiment behind certain words that they've put together just for you. And you feel like they're speaking right to you. So really, if you could do both, do the Audible and the read, but love the Audible. Jamie Kern Lima has great energy. She's very positive. She's very real. She shares experiences of her not feeling worthy. And she also has different exercises you can do that will help you not only reflect, but build your skills on how to build your self-worth, your self-esteem. Emotional Freedom: Liberate Yourself from Negative Emotions and Transform Your Life by Judy Orloff. Y'all, this book is like 10 hours long, and that is long, and I didn't think I would like it, but I'm going to tell you, it's a psychiatrist who is emotional. What is she? She's an emotional intelligence psychiatrist. And I'm telling you, this lady dives deep into the journey of healing yourself, not only mentally, because yes, she's a psychiatrist. Yes, there is medicine portion, but doing the deep dive, she holds your hand through it. She has different exercises. I just thought it was a beautiful book. She talks about dreams, and incorporating your inner voice into your healing. And I think a lot of times we're told that people who are spiritual, who are listening to that inner voice, like they're a little crazy. Like, why do they think that? No, really, all of us have an inner voice for a reason. Our inner light is fueled by that, right? And once we squash that, we dim our light as well. And she does a great job of explaining that. I'm not even going to take, I don't want to, I want you to experience it for yourself, but I had a good experience with it, and I'm going to listen to it again. So I actually found that if you don't want to do Audible, because I bought Jamie Kern Lima's book on Audible, there is an app called the Libby app, and my sister-in-law told me about this. The Libby app is a library app that's totally free. Free is free. You could download a lot of Audible books for free from there. So check out the Libby app, get some of the Audible options from there. And they also have the books that you can read on through the app as well. I don't know if it's Kindle compatible. So I'm going to check that out. So, Adverse Childhood Experiences, ACE's Workbook, a practical guide for navigating through complexities and overcoming the pain of past and present trauma. The complexities and overcoming the pain of past and present trauma. Trauma, it's not your fault. So, this book is the workbook by my cousin, Regina Price, who will be on in the upcoming weeks on the podcast. And y'all, I'm telling you, this workbook has different exercises, reflection exercises. You will have prompts to go through the past trauma. So we can do these things. You are smart enough and strong enough to do these things. You just need the right resources, the right support systems to do it. And when I'm telling you that she's talking about ACEs in a real way, it's not your fault. Because how could you help what happened to you as a kid? How could you help that your dad didn't want anything to do with you as a kid? You cannot help that, right? But it did affect you. And what you could do now is see how that's affecting you now, some of the belief systems, and choose different. And I remember I had told Regina, I said, Regina, I don't want to go through this book because I just knew that it was going to be a lot, and it is a lot. So maybe you have to do it little bit by little bit, break it down into little segments. You don't have to do everything the same day. Really, you should take time to do the exercises. Give yourself a general time, like I'm going to take a month to process through this and then move forward. Sorry, I'm going to take a little sip. So that is a workbook. You can find that on Amazon, and I am going to have the link below. The Caterpillar's WEB for Transformation, Wisdom of the Elders and Butterflies. You need this book. It's by my favorite male psychologist, Dr. Bruce Purnell. I hope to have him on the podcast soon. I've heard so many of his trainings and teachings on transforming and what would happen if the butterfly didn't go through the cocoon. And the cocoon is pressure, it's junk, it's being in the dark, it's being in a scary place. I cannot wait for you guys to, 1, get the book, 2, experience Dr. Bruce and his teachings. He's just so wonderful and dynamic because every person, every human is going through stuff, has junk, and we just have to know to support them to healing. And that's the basis of this book. And then the last, this is the oldie. So I don't know if any of you know of the author June Hunt. She has a lot of little mini books. So I've read this one. It's a mini book. It's maybe 30 pages. It's like maybe a little mini notebook. And this book has different scriptures. It has different real life examples of healing low self-worth. And it's called Self-Worth, Discover Your God-Given Worth, and it's Hope from the Heart. And I will say this, yes, she's a Christian and the book has scripture in it, but anyone can read this book and really glean great healing gems. One of the things that I love about good information, it's not skewed one way or the other. It's just healing. There's no one's hitting you upside the head, none of those things with any of these. And I want to say that because that's the kind of content that's the kind of information that's really going to heal people, not things that are making people feel bad. So all of these books, great. If you like paper, The Self-Worth by June Hunt, small little book, but powerful for healing. She talks about, and this is probably why it resonated so much with me. She talks about issues with her dad, how he was harsh and cold and very judgmental, and how that affected her. And I think her mom had mental illness, so she was not really part of her growing up. So it's just a very good book, and I love books where people are really. I didn't mean to say really so many times, but they're sharing their experiences. They're authentic. There's no filter. Um, because that's really the only way people are going to heal. We're not going to heal if we're just going through some kind of superficial, say this and this will happen, or pay this and that'll happen. You're not going to get healed that way. Really, you're going to have to dig out and root out those bad, ugly things, and making sure that they're out forever and they're not going to bubble up at a time that you didn't even expect it to bubble up. So what I mean by that is you're either going to implode, have heart disease, diabetes, have a stroke, have migraine, or explode, have anger, drinking. Well, that's kind of internal as well, but having anger, reckless driving, some of the things that are outside of us. We're going to abuse others because we're not healed. So, and then meditations and songs. When the pandemic we were mid-pandemic, so like 2021 or 2020, I remember a therapist recommending, she started out a training with Songversation Worthy meditation by India Ari. And this meditation is about 15 minutes. Songversations are her teachings in song form. And they're so good. They're so healing. They're so peaceful. But one of the words of or one of the songs in there is I Am Light. And the lyrics are so powerful. It says, I'm not the things that have happened to me. I'm not my family. I'm not the things that I've been through. I'm the light inside. And it's not, I'm, I'm light is not I'm better than anyone. I'm human. And no matter what all of those other things are that I've been through, my age, my weight, if I've committed a crime, I'm not those things. I'm the inner man. And the inner man is beautiful and the inner man is light. If anyone has abused you, you're not that thing. The song is so beautiful. So those notes, the lyrics are below in the show notes as well. So the meditation is Songversation Worthy, and the lyrics for the song from India Irie. So with our upcoming episodes, we're going to have ACEs with a Light for Life CEO and founder, Regina Price. We're going to have Embracing Change with Dr. Kim Answers. And she is the CEO and founder, Kim Jordan. Embracing Growth, Insights and Personal Development with Nature Heals CEO and founder, Quanshay Henderson. Embracing Your True Self, Positivity, Body Positivity and Self-Love with All Barbies Up, owner Laura Feenster. So I am so excited about these podcasts because they're not just like this superficial thing that we're doing. They're really going to address some of these heavy, hard conversations and situations and conversations that are going to heal us. They're going to open our eyesights to some of the things we've been struggling with. Because I know that when I talk to my friends, there is a light, as in, wow, I did not think about it that way. So yes, on the path to self-discovery, you can get therapists, you can go through trainings, but us connecting that connection is what makes the healing. And one of the ways that we heal is by listening. So you listening to the podcast is you on your journey is healing. So I just appreciate you taking the time to come with me. And just to recap just a little bit, we're going to go through those resources because we're going to really have to invest that time, invest a little bit of money if you need to, but most of the things that I suggested, you don't need the money. India's resources is on YouTube. So some of the things we're going to have to invest money, like a therapist, you may have to invest, but sometimes you can get, your insurance will pay for it. One of the things that we have to do for the upcoming episodes, we will discuss some free therapy, free therapy sessions and paid coaching sessions, and the benefits of both of them. They both have value, and I've done both. And I think that's something that is an investment in yourself. So hopefully you will listen to the upcoming episodes and enjoy them. And when I say enjoy, I know healing, the path to healing is not fuzzy wuzzy. They're not fuzzy wuzzy, but it's good medicine for you. It's good medicine for you. So one of the things that I wanted to do is have us say a few affirmations together. One of the affirmations that, now I can't find it. One of the affirmations that I love to say is that I accept myself the way that I am. And I remember at first saying that and cringing, but now I can say that and I know it's okay. So one of the affirmations, I approve of myself. I accept myself as I am. I look at myself with the eyes of compassion, love, healing. I hope that today was a good day for you and that you had a good day spending time with me. I'm so glad that you did. And so for the future episodes, we will have them. If you turn on your alerts, you will get an alert. Your notifications, you'll get an alert for the new episodes. And hopefully you will be with me again on the Unfiltered with Roxy podcast. Thank you. Bye. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Unfiltered with Roxy. Your support means the world to me. If you found this discussion on self-worth helpful, please share it with someone who could benefit and be encouraged by it. We'd love to hear your stories, what you learned, or what topics you'd like to hear in future episodes. Connect with me on social media and join the conversation. On Instagram at Positivo Roxy, YouTube, Life with Rox, or Facebook, Roxana Feenster. Remember, you are worthy and your journey to self-worth is important. Stay tuned for more insightful and uplifting episodes. Please be kind to yourself, and thanks for joining me on this self-discovery journey, Unfiltered.